To understand how the American theater is being killed, you must first understand the American theater. You now do this. You are eligible for like 15 credits of a bachelor's degree.
Mm-hmm. That is true. That is true. And also, maybe don't get it at NYU. I'm not saying it's a real estate scam disguised as an education,
I got
but
bad news
somebody
about
might.
every other university.
I also might say that about the Roundabout Theater Company. I might.
For more, please listen to our education.
Another building in Glasgow just burned down to get turned into student housing yesterday.
Nice.
So,
oh dear God, Lord. But let's talk about what it means to like participate in the system from the inside. Let's say theoretically that you want to put up an ice-based musical, for example. You've written this ice-based musical.
Next slide, please.
This is me. I'm looking hot as fuck, albeit I've detransitioned. I'm looking like smoldering.
So I'm doing Pirates of Penzance on ice.
Yes, you're a regular Joseph Fiennes.
With cat-like tread upon.
So you're regular Joseph Fiennes in Shakespeare in Love. Well, actually, I found out his real name is Joseph Alberic Twinselton Wycombe Fiennes.
Have you seen his son's name? I'm trying to remember what it is, but
I'm gonna have to look that up.
It's long, I'd imagine. But so now you want to get the musical onto Broadway. There is a system in place that will help you do that, and that system looks a little something like this. Next
Hero
slide,
Beauregard Faulkner Fiennes Tiffin. Also, I think it's pronounced like Finns or something stupid like that.
So, yeah, this is the system. AJ sort of described this for me broadly, and I kind of charted it out.
I went into a fugue state briefly, and I just, like, my eyes rolled in the back of my head, and I just walked through every single step of this. But basically, you start out, you've written a play, and the first question you got to ask yourself is, are you super famous, and do you have famous friends who are willing to be in it? If so, you can skip the entire middle section of this, because great, your production has benefactors, and your play is going to receive a full production. You pass go, you collect $200, right? But if you don't,
that's how we started this podcast, by inviting.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I was the clouted up one in this sort of business when I started.
You still are. Look at your Twitter followers.
Justin, you
don't sell yourself short.
You had just come off of like a run of like massive YouTube videos. You were like a household name for like city skylines.
Yeah, I still have them if they hadn't fucked up city skylines too so bad.
Yeah, we were talking about that before recording. Oh
well. But if you don't have anybody, if you don't have
another
a November
Doomed Franklin project.
You have the Doomed Franklin project. The next question you ask yourself is, do you have an agent? And if you do have an agent, your agent's able to submit the play to potentially interested parties. And this is mostly a lot of regional theaters now will not take unsolicited manuscripts, so or ones not submitted by an agent specifically, because the backlog is so long because of the pandemic, because of delayed productions, and just lack of money. Basically, the likelihood of your play being read, even if you have an agent at one of those regional theaters, is pretty low unless you have a pre-established relationship with them. But you don't have an agent, which is very likely because most theatrical agents went under in the pandemic as well. The next question you have to ask yourself is, do you have $75,000?
No.
And if the answer is yes, time to self-produce.
My podcast millions. Justin, you can sell the nuclear bomb. So probably you can raise $75,000. I can't raise $75,000.
The bombs. That's not mine.
Come on. We can make Iran get the bomb before the Supreme Court.
It's not mine. It'd be illegal to sell.
Camera lenses are not worth that much for resale.
It's not my bomb.
If you sell the bomb, whoever's bomb that is, whoever bomb that is, you get $75K.
Someone
you
can get really mad at me if I sold the bomb.
It's not your bomb. I get it.
The Supreme Court has acquired a second nuclear weapon.
Look, Sotomayor does not have to know about this. This is all. So you can use that $75K to self-produce. You rent a venue and you pay actors the equity minimum wage, and you invite a bunch of industry people to that. But if you don't have $75,000, then you submit it yourself. And as Josh has put here, roll a D100 for luck, fail on 1 through 98.
I imagine also,
again,
like, the whole process of producing or pre-producing this, you have to become God's worst tyrant. And also the cheapest bastard on earth.
Yes.
Given that it's your money, you have a very limited supply of it, you can only pay people the minimum wage, and if anything goes wrong, you are like turbo fucked.
Does anybody happen to have a D100 on them, by the way, real quick?
Yeah,
like,
I'll
you could
roll your
check.
D100.
All right.
Let's see how well There's Your Problem on Ice is going to do.
Yeah.
3.
3.
Actually won.
Wait, AJ, you passed?
Yeah, I won. Yeah, I got 100.
Okay, so we've got a critical pass as well as pretty much a critical fail.
Yeah. Like we killed an actor in the
All
course of stage.
It's all COVID.
We actually quadrisected the lead actor's dick
sacrifice
with ice skates. He's
Oh no!
She's never gonna skate again. It's real bad.
Oh.
And we're out
Lord.
75K.
But-
you know?
So you have
There you
failed. So the fail state sends you right back to keep writing, better luck next time. But
Oh, back
AJ
to Frank, yes.
passed, which takes him to someone actually picked up your script and gave it to their literary intern. How about that?
Or
Wow.
you've won a
Right.
competition. This can happen a whole bunch of different ways. You can submit it to the O'Neill Theater Conference. They will also charge you $35 to read your play and give you no feedback on it if you do not get accepted, which is highway robbery. I guess I've just blown any chance I'm ever having of being accepted to the O'Neill. But then you can also be commissioned by a theater company if you have like an old relationship with them. That's how one of the plays that I wrote that got produced was I was commissioned by a theater company and they put on the show. But sometimes you'll be commissioned by a theater company and they will decide not to do your play, and also you can't do that play anywhere else in certain contracts because they own the rights to it because they commissioned it. So the play is essentially dead on arrival. You get back to writing. But saying all that stuff like went well. You've won the contest. Literary intern reads it. It piques their interest. Then your script will be selected for a staged reading.
Oh,
which
I've
is where
done this
you.
before.
Oh, you have. What play did you do a stage reading for?
It was called John Taliban.
Hey, I did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me just roll that D20 again real quick.
All right, there you go.
Roll D100. Come on.
All right.
6.
6. Oh, unfortunate.
Oh, better luck.
Well, we doubled up, baby.
Better luck next
Say
time.
goodbye to John Taliban, everyone.
All right. Unfortunate.
Damn.
But yes, the stage reading.
Yeah.
At this point, you are going to be getting up in front of a bunch of people, or your people are going to be getting up in front of people. They're going to have music stands and they're going to read the play.
For a group of people. And now there are a whole bunch of different kinds of readings. But for the sake of argument, this is not one that is explicitly looking for producers. A lot of them are just used for like feedback. And then I'm sorry, this would be one that is exclusively looking for producers. But there are a lot of stage readings that can just be for developmental purposes.
Podcast bonus episodes.
Entire industry.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's its own entire industry is just the development of a new play. Because the most playwrights can hope for at this point is getting your play. Get a staged reading at a big theater in New York, and then that play will probably.
To a previous point, a lot of these places that used to exist that are to do with developing new work, well, they're just fucking gone now. They don't exist anymore. So
yeah, because the pandemic killed them off. There's a thing called Space at Ryder Farm, which just shut down, which was literally just a house in upstate New York where playwrights would go and like do the housework, do all their own cooking, and live there for like a week and write a play and share it with everyone. And even they couldn't stay open. For something with that like low bar of like money that went into it, they just could not get the funding anymore. Basically, in the theater world, there is a drawbridge that is slowly being pulled up, and there are a couple people who are actually able to make it over, but they were people who are already pretty much climbing up the thing in the first place. And there is hope that the drawbridge will eventually come down, but for the moment, it seems like they're sort of like hunkering down. Anyway, so we're at the reading stage, and if the reading goes well enough that people are willing to put money into the show, well then, congratulations, you move on to a workshop. But if the reading does not go well, then you can still submit that play to like playwriting competitions, which might
roll a d20 here.
Yeah.
And pass.
Come on, baby.
Pass here is a 18 minus n, where n is the total number of readings, workshops, or productions the play has had. So we're going to say in this situation that WTYP on Ice has had 2. It's had 1 workshop, 1 reading, so it's pass on a 16.
All right, let me just do this here. Roll a d20, and that is going to give us 16 exactly. We advanced.
Congratulations, your script.
All right, we're good. We're good for WTYP on Ice.
Congratulations, your script has won a playwriting award. And now it has been selected for a stage reading.
Yeah, we're right back to stage reading. And again, ask the question, does the reading go well? Puts money into it? Great. You get that money, you go on to a workshop. And a workshop production is actors are off book, not fully costumed, not fully staged, but they are putting on the show maybe some light staging, maybe some prop work, but they're putting on the show for potential investors to be like, this is going to be the thing. And mostly it's decided on lines of either it being like a tastemaker, of it being like, this is going to like shake the American theater to its core, or this is a jukebox musical that's going to get in a lot of people with butts into seats. Right. But then with that success and with getting that money also come producers who are going to have their own notes. And those notes, in a lot of cases, are the thing you have to take in order to get the money.
So in this example here, WTYP on Ice, unfortunately, we will have to be cutting the ice portion.
That's fair. That's fair.
So are you willing?
This is very difficult. We can do it on roller skates, though.
Are you no skates at all? Are
No
you willing to
skates
take
at all.
that?
I will bend. I will compromise with anyone. You tell me this has to be based on Kazakh folk music. I will start learning throat singing.
Can we use Heelys?
If you can
provide
it,
come on.
Yes, but you have to provide your own.
Okay.
Healy's budget goes through the fucking roof overnight.
It's BYOH, I guess.
Yeah. Just like do a really annoying like casting call that's like must bring own Heelys to audition. We get like called out on Twitter. It's like a real disaster.
Even if they don't make it into the show, you get to keep their Heelys. They have to leave them on the way out. Yeah.
By the way, if you did say no there, I would have had to tell you to roll a d20 again. But because you said yes, it's okay, we can move on to the full production, which you'll also note we are now at the point where you can get to if you just have a famous friend.
Yes. So now you have a full production. I was in a show very much actually that had the super famous friend. That super famous friend was Luke Wilson.
Wow.
And he produced the play. He had never read it. He had no idea what it was, but he gave he gave $75K, or at least a large percentage of $75K to the show to get it to go up off Broadway.
God, give us $75K. We'll make John Taliban.
There you go.
That would be so good. Yeah.
And so you do a full production, and the goal of a full production is to get in critics who will see the work, will write about it, and build up buzz and hype enough that you could get more people with bigger money on board, so you can transfer to a larger venue.
That there's a limiting factor as well that's not just money, because $75K is a lot of money, right? But it's like dentist money. Like it's the kind of thing that like it's the kind of thing you can fund an indie film, not like even a huge indie film with, for instance. It's the kind of money that like used to be thrown at like you know like B movies essentially. So clearly it's not everyone with $75K can fund this. Otherwise, we would be seeing a lot of dentist musicals.
Well, see, here's the thing. You do.
Yeah.
You just don't hear about them because they're terrible.
But these are all, I mean, if you want to talk about, earlier we mentioned how most off-Broadway theaters are for or nonprofit producing organizations that program a season.
Yeah.
The handful of commercial for-profit off-Broadway rental houses that are left, those are the ones where the dentist musicals are going on.
Theater Row is a big place for that.
I hate the thinking that I hate the thought that I may just have named a genre here.
I might only think about those as dentist musicals from here on out. I had to work so many of those shows during my time doing box office, and every fucking one of these performances, no tickets were sold.
Apart from that
So
one
they
lady.
had to paper the entire house. And so what actually happened
Except
was,
that one lady, yeah. Cochran.
well, no, she doesn't pay for her fucking tickets.
Yeah, she doesn't.
That's the other thing about Nikki Cochran.
Yeah.
That motherfucker has never paid for a goddamn ticket in her life.
She just sneaks in the house.
Fuck.
It's like a, a
she's horrible.
situation where you have to like, you're going to the show because your friend is in it. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it's not that, it's that you got your tickets through a service like something called Club Free Time, which is a real thing.
What?
Where you can sign up for like $5 and you get access to
It's also a
free
phishing
tickets
scam.
for a bunch of shows. And so I remember, rather than ever having to sell a ticket for any show when I was doing box office for that shit, and or having to like look up will call or anything, I just have my list from the different papering services, and I'd be like, yes, Mrs. Richardson, you have 2 tickets, and be like, thank you, darling. I'm so excited for the show. I've heard it's marvelous. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. It's variations on Roz for Monsters Inc.
Yes.
Oh, it's
So you just
it's,
got like a
it's,
theatrical equivalent of like dumb money, if you like.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Oh, but yeah, it's not even like a weird art thing that doesn't make sense. Because I'll go to any weird art thing that
No,
doesn't.
it's
make sense.
people who
But
are
if it's
like
made by
buying like a
dentist, it's
subscription
like-
to the theater because they
Yeah.
think it's art, and what they're getting instead is like a
Yeah.
dentist's mistress doing a one-woman show.
Yeah.
Well, and again, they're not
Yeah.
paying for these tickets either. They're getting them for free.
Yeah. But hopefully a lot of them who are getting the free tickets love the show. They give it standing ovations. Because if not, guess what? The play is kind of done. If it's had the production, then it's pretty much dead in the water. Everybody is obsessed with having world premieres. And if you don't have the world premiere, then you're kind of screwed.
You can still, you can see a path there. You can still roll the D20 and you might win a playwriting award. And the likelihood of that it increases with the more development a given play has had.
Yep.
But it's going to be very difficult.
Let me
to
give
get
it a go
that
here.
again.
Rolling D20.
Okay. And you're now, if you're passing
Hey, we
on a
got
14
15.
now.
We go to Broadway.
Hey,
Hey, all right, we got the
Well,
ice
no.
back.
We're actually not going to Broadway yet. Because now the question is, so we're assuming here that you put it up again and that it also got stellar reviews and sold out every performance.
Yes.
Now, if you've done that, flip a coin.
Oh, come on, man. This is bullshit.
Correct.
Flip coin.
Heads or tails?
Yeah.
Heads passes, tails fails.
Come on. Heads.
Congratulations, you're going to
Broadway.
Broadway.
Yes, we got. Well, there's your problem. On ice, but not on ice. But the ice is somehow done through special effects.
Welcome to There's Your Problem.
Yeah, the
Hell yeah.
like Kazakh
crossover
throat
that
singing
nobody
arc is
asked
like an
for.
interesting turn, but like audiences really seem to like it.
Yeah.
So that's the play development process, and we've got a few more slides
This
in
has
here
been
still about
horrible.
like the nature of what that looks like in more
No,
detail.
this
But
sounds-
that's the system.
This is actually pretty easy. We got through it first time. I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah, skill issue. R.I.P. to your play, but ours is built different, and by different we mean not on ice.
I mean, that's the thing, though.
I'm glad you took the note.
Well, there's your problem on Heelys.
Well, we had to provide ourselves.
That's right.
The Tony Award-winning play this year was a play called Stereophonic, and it was nominated for the most Tonys of all time, and it ended up winning. And it was a commission from a theater that decided not to produce it. So it is also that you are at the whims of artistic directors who think they know what theater is, but the truth is nobody does. Nobody.
Hey, but
Also drafting
it's
your
also
quarterback in the
nice
first
that you're
round.
like
Hell yeah.
starving
Kinda, yeah.
writing this stuff, and the guy who's deciding and the guy whose whims you're at is making like $1 million a
Exactly.
year.
Exactly.
To throw
He has,
darts
like, a
at like
penthouse.
a board.
He's like a Manhattan penthouse, but also like not that good of a Manhattan penthouse. It's like one of the mediocre.
Yeah, what we're saying is this guy's
Yeah.
broke in a different way.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
also
he's got a balcony. And it's like, but it just opens onto the building across the street.
I will also say
That's how you can throw glass bottles at your neighbors, Ross.
it's the easiest way. But the thing is about this particular chart that we've grafted for you is this is the chart if you are a white guy.
Partial
if you
credit?
are not, if you are not,
treat me like a
then all of a sudden all these other factors start going against you.
I mean, you basically have to roll a d20 before every step.
Yes,
an additional d20.
Yeah, because while there have been significant improvements in diversifying the canon, there have been obviously more playwrights of color on Broadway and off Broadway that have been produced in recent years. The fact of the matter is that the vast majority of play productions in this country have all white creative teams and are written by white men. That is just how the statistics fall for this sort of thing. And there was a brief period of time right after the pandemic when Broadway was mostly playwrights of color because the rents had gone down, and so people were willing to, quote, take bigger risks on plays.
But what was really going on was that the shows that knew how to make money were waiting for people to come back.
Yes. And the rallying cry was Broadway is back. Broadway is back. And then you would go to see a Broadway show and you get an entirely new strain of COVID that was originated in that theater. Moulin Rouge was like
Hamilton death.
Yeah, well, Moulin Rouge was like a particularly fertile ground for COVID for some reason. It was just
everybody spitting
luck
on each other during the show. I mean, like higher body count than Turn Off the Dark.
Legitimately. And it was a deeply scary time. But the thing is that we still haven't recovered from it, and we're still feeling the ramifications of COVID now.
We're still feeling the ramifications of COVID.
Like Broadway is turns out to be the cultural equivalent of the Sturgis Motorcycle Festival.
Yes.
But for a different socioeconomic class. Well, actually, not that different from like a pure class standpoint, but a different
ask
demo,
Patrick Wyman about the like American petty bourgeoisie,